welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. Today I was going to show you guys a humongous haul of Grayson's clothes that he's wearing right now and a few outfits that aren't going to be worn right now but for summertime. But I have been literally cleaning non-stop the last few days, and I'm trying to film, sir. But yes, I have been trying to clean up my room for the past 2 days. I've been doing non-stop laundry, and honestly, I'm still trying to get together all of his clothes and wash them all to show you guys everything. So maybe that video will go out Friday. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping to maybe film it a little bit later after I finish like putting my clothes away and finally finishing like getting all his clothes organized and stuff. So don't touch that cord. Being bad. So instead, I asked you guys on my Instagram to ask me some questions about my labor and delivery. Just like any questions you guys really had been wondering about my labor and delivery. I didn't get very many questions, but I figured even if this is a short video, it's something that I can post for you guys that is super simple so that I don't have to sit down and edit all day, because I still have a lot of cleaning to do. You guys do not want to see my closet right now. Disaster. Don't touch. But yes, also new lights. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen them in a few videos, but the lighting in my room is getting way better. I have really bright lights that I'm going to be putting up somehow over this other section of my room, which will make filming a little bit better with lighting, as well as you guys can probably tell there's a little bit of a better lighting situation. I have the purple on right now because the white ones on this one for the color changing ones is really weird. But yeah, I'm just going to stop talking about random shit and get right on with these questions. The first question is, did you get an epidural? Yes, I did. And honestly, the epidural does not hurt as bad as what everybody seems to make it out as. Honestly, my thing is contractions, dealing with the contractions while sitting still long enough while getting the epidural was probably the worst part of the whole situation of getting the epidural. The epidural didn't hurt. I think the only part that really like hurt was like the small stinging of the stuff going into your back, and after that you don't feel anything. But I think like the hardest part with getting the epidural was sitting still during contractions, because when you're having a contraction, you more likely will move around a little bit. So trying to stay very, very still while they're putting it all into your back is very, very difficult. But yes, I did get the epidural. And if you are thinking about getting the epidural, my biggest suggestion to you is when you feel like your pain is starting to get kind of unbearable, that is when I would suggest ordering the anesthesiologist to come down and do your epidural. Because let me tell you guys, I did that with my epidural, and by the time the anesthesiologist came down, I was for sure ready to have that epidural in me. And honestly, if you wait until you're really unbearable pain to get the epidural, you're going to be waiting a little bit for that anesthesiologist to come in to actually do it, and you're going to be sitting there in quite some pain. So I suggest ordering it a little bit of ahead than what you think you're going to need it, just so that you have it there. Obviously, if you're trying to last as long as you can without the epidural, that is a completely different situation. But if you know already that you're going to get the epidural like I did, I for sure ordered it early when I started to have a lot more of a stronger contraction, and I knew soon I was not going to be able to bear them. So, and there is, again, nothing wrong with having a natural birth, getting an epidural. Nothing is wrong with either one. It is your decision. Nobody should shame you for doing either one, especially getting an epidural. Some people just can't handle the pain like me. And yes, people do say natural births are better, but honestly, my child's fine. I had an epidural. I'm completely fine. Yeah. Next one is, what part were you most scared about when going into labor? I wasn't really scared about anything, honestly. I think the thing that I was most nervous about was the pain, because I didn't know, because it's different for everybody. Some people have no pain during their labor when they get the epidural. Some people still feel pain. After I had my epidural, I did feel a lot of pressure still, even with the epidural. But again, like I said, everybody is different. But honestly, I was most concerned and nervous about how I was going to handle the contractions pain, which I was right to be nervous. Contractions don't feel the greatest, I can tell you that much, but you honestly forget about all of the pain and stuff you went through the second that you have them, because let me tell you guys, the second that I had him, I didn't even remember the pain that I was going through. I was completely just focused on him, worrying about him, not worrying about any other pain that I was in. Like, it all just goes away. The question is, when you had Grayson, did you rip a lot? So, I was one of the very lucky few women who never ripped, never tore, did not do any of that. And I am so thankful for that, because I had a very speedy recovery, which was amazing. I was up the next day walking around getting everything for myself. And unfortunately, I had a very rude nurse who wasn't even my nurse until the very last day when I was leaving. She was at the counter, and she had the nerve to tell me that I was on bed rest and I wasn't supposed to be up walking around. And one of the other nurses came in and told me, I'm allowed to go do whatever. I can walk around. I can go do anything I want. I wasn't in any pain. My bleeding was under control. I hadn't ripped or tore. I didn't have any stitches in me. Like, I was allowed to do whatever I wanted to. I could go up and get food and whatnot. Like, all the nurses besides that one bitch of a nurse, they were all fine with me walking around. She just had to stick up her butt, I guess. But I was the lucky one and never got any stitches, didn't rip, nothing. The next one is, did you feel it when the placenta was delivered? No, I don't even remember them delivering the placenta. Like I said earlier, I was not focused on anything else besides Grayson being right there, making sure he was okay, and it was a lot of overwhelming emotions at that point. I had just had Grayson, like, I was not worried about anything else besides him. The next question is, were you excited to push and just ready to see him? So, I was not excited to push, obviously, because that's a lot of really, really hard work to do, like, but mainly, I was just ready for him to get out of me. I was so done at this point. Pushing was the worst part of my whole birth experience, because Grayson was a very stubborn baby to push out, because you would see his head as I was pushing, and then when the contraction would be over and I'd stop, he would go right back in. So it was very, very tedious, and I just kept feeling the same pain over and over and over again until he finally stopped being stubborn and he finally came out, which was nice. Hey, excuse me. No, that is absolutely not acceptable. No. Ugh. He's pulling on cords again. It's not funny. Sit down. But yeah, pushing was definitely the worst part of my whole birth experience. Like, the pain was just unbearable. The epidural did nothing for me, and obviously, I do want to put this out there again. The epidural will work differently for everybody. I know people who have got the epidural and have felt nothing. None of the pushing, nothing. Nothing at all. But for me, unfortunately, I felt all. The question is, how long were you in labor for? So I was in labor for 26 plus hours. I say that because it's an estimated kind of like time. Because I don't actually like... It's really hard to explain. I did go into early labor and I went to the hospital, but they sent me home. That's why I say 26 plus hours. Active labor, it was 26 around there. But then again, I'm adding on the 2 days beforehand if I was like in labor still having contractions on and off, because I was. So, you know. The next question is, how big was Gray when he was born? So he was 7 pounds, 8 ounces. I don't remember how long he was, just because I know that probably sounds weird. Like, how do you not remember how long your child was when he was born? And basically, the only reason I don't really remember is because right now, I'm trying to keep up on his length and stuff and remember all of it every 2 weeks. So it is so hard to keep up with everything. He pulled the cord off of the wall. Boy! Oh my god. I'm gonna have to raise it up, I guess. But yes, he was 7 pounds 8 ounces in weight total. The next question is, what was the weirdest part of labor? Honestly, there was nothing really weird about labor. Like, I don't think there was one specific thing that was really weird about my whole labor experience. It was just that. The next question is, did Lizzie come in the room? So, unfortunately, with my hospital, there's only allowed 2 people in the room. And we ended up sneaking Alan's mom in the beginning, but she could not come in anymore, which I honestly think that it is very, very wrong that I'm not allowed to have more support people in there with me. I only had my mom and Alan in there, which was all I was allowed to have at all during my whole 26 hours of being in labor. And honestly, I so wish I had Alan's mom in there supporting me. I wish my friend Lizzie was able to be in there with me supporting me. Like, if I just had a lot more support people in there helping me out, I feel like I would have been a lot more comfortable, and like maybe my process would have gone through a lot more faster if I did have a lot more support people in there than just 2, which I don't understand why I wasn't allowed to have more people in there. Like, they're just people. It's not like they're gonna be in your way. This room is pretty big, and I don't know, but obviously I wanted my mom in there and Alan in there at that time. So the next question is, did it make you uncomfortable doing it in front of everybody? So let me tell you guys, when you're in labor, you do not care what is going on around you. All you're caring about is focusing on contractions and getting this baby out. Like, I was leaking fluid all over the floor throughout the hospital when I would walk around, when I went in to check in, because my water had been breaking at that time. And let me tell you, I didn't even care. I'd walk up to a nurse and say, hey, the hallway's wet. I just made it all. Yeah. And, like, you just don't care at that point. Like, you're in pain. You're trying to focus. Like, it's just a typical thing. You're not going to really care at this point who's looking at your hoo-ha. Like, all these doctors have done it before. They've seen it all. Like, I really did not care at that point. The next question is, was it stressful? So, it was very stressful after I had him because it was all me doing it pretty much. Like, Alan would hold him here and there, but I was the one changing him. I was the one feeding him. I was the one getting up with him all the time. Like, Alan was always sleeping on and off during the day and night, so I was doing it all on my own. Birth isn't really stressful. It's just very painful, and like, you gotta focus. So that's really all I can like really say for the stressful part. And the last question is, were you dilated when you got there, or were you dilating there? So you're not going to be completely dilated by the time that you go to the hospital. There's never a person that I've known to go to the hospital and then just push out the baby right then and there. You have to dilate to 10 centimeters to push, obviously. Your cervix opens up, which is called dilating, to fit the head through and everything else. I was not dilated at all when I got there, and it took 11 hours until my body finally dilated to 1 centimeter, so that just shows you guys how fast he was coming and how slow my body was working, at the time. So that just kind of shows you in comparison how slow my body was going and how fast he wanted to come. But no, I was not dilated at all, but you do still dilate while you're in the hospital, especially if it's your first baby. Your body does tend to dilate a lot slower than if it was like your third child. Your body kind of has been like used to dilating at that point and knows the cycle, and it'll go by a little bit faster. So hopefully my next baby that I have, this process will not take over 26 hours of me being in labor. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a short, weird, random video that I just figured out I would do, but I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe. I do have merch out. I'm going to put my social medias at the bottom in the description below. Hopefully the links will work. I tried it last time. I have no idea if they worked or not. I'm also going to work on some new merch for you guys soon, so in the next couple of videos, I will probably post that link as well. It will all be in there. It's in my storefront. So I will post a link that we currently have for merch now. And then in the previous videos, I will let you guys know when the new merch is up. But yeah, I love you guys so much. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.